Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the June 7th committee meeting. This is Police, Fire, and 911 Administration, or 911 PSAP. Today's agenda includes 911. Andrea Potacek, the supervisor at the PSAP, will be addressing Councilman Hockett and Councilman Sprinkle, and Finance Officer Chandra Phillips is here. Andrea, you have the floor, just like that. Normally you have to wait.
Normally I have to wait my turn. So, we talked last time we were here about interviews coming up and that we were interviewing for one of the open lieutenant positions. We conducted those interviews and the position was offered to Kelsey Flores and she accepted. So she's already started some of those duties and things. She's kind of working nights right now, so once we switch schedules, she'll come back to the day shift and I'll be able to go over some more things with her and stuff. Spend a little bit more one-on-one time with her, but I think she's gonna do a really good job. Budget season. I've been going through things in terms of equipment. I think this year for equipment, I think all of our stuff is new enough that we just have some, well, I can't even say some minor things. So I don't think we have computers that we need this year. Yeah, kind of jumping ahead to the UPSs, but I have some emails out to the people we have software contracts with, our CAD system, our teletype system, trying to make sure that our teletype has been the same for the last few years. So I don't know that I'm anticipating a rate increase there, but I'm still going to check in with them just to make sure. Omnigo, which is our CAD system, and the jail uses it for JMS and the PD for their reports and such. I think that went up a little bit last year, so I reached out to them to check in on that again. One of the things that we brought up last year was PowerPhone, which is our EMD, the company we EMD through, certify. That's the emergency medical dispatching portion of it, which is the training that we're required to have by the state that allows us to give CPR and other first responder instructions until we get somebody on scene. So what we currently do with them is we pay for the certifications for our staff to recertify and maintain that certification. There's a program that we have that we go through that step by step, all the questions that we need to ask and information gathering. What we would like to see happen, and again, I'm waiting for a dollar amount on this. We brought it up last year and we were told to wait, so we're gonna try again this year. They have, essentially it's a continuing education program that they offer. Not just for the medical side of it, they also have police and fire, which just good questions, information gathering. They have different trainings available online that we'd be able to let people if and when there's downtime, go through. They have active shooter trainings, they have domestic violence trainings, they have all sorts of different things that thankfully we don't deal with all too regularly, but unfortunately having the training before it's needed is the goal. So like I said, I'm waiting for a dollar amount on that. Kind of what for 2023, it was obviously more expensive because we were getting more, but one of the monetary factors is how many people we have to recertify. So I'm waiting to hear back how many people we have coming up next year and what that cost is going to be with the software versus, because if we signed up for the continuing education program, all of the recertifications and the software program we have are included in all of that.
Do you have to recertify them every year?
For EMD, it's every 2.
Every 2?
Yep.
They do get a bump
Yep.
for
during
being EMD certified.
The original certification, yep, we did.
2.5% on top of what their current wage is. Which I think for the most part, Andrea, isn't that, you send them to Pier first, get them certified there, and then they get this almost immediately after that, is that correct?
Yep, it used to be.
Those are two separate certifications,
Yep,
though.
two separate certifications, yep. It used to be that they would go to LAT and Pier, do the 2 weeks, and then there's two different companies that are majority used in South Dakota, and it's PowerPhone, which is what we use, and Priority Dispatch. And so the state would alternate after the LAT courses, or the basic, 911 basic courses. One term they would do PowerPhone, and the next one they would do Priority. And they did it there. And then when COVID happened, they just started doing the PowerPhone and Priority online. So now we can get it for them as soon as they certify. So we've got one up there right now, because I didn't put that one on there. Melissa's up there currently. And so once she completes the 2-week certification, then we'll get her enrolled for the EMD portion of it. And I always double check in with Mary Niles before, but usually the primary certification the state will pay for, because it's a requirement for them. So that should not be any additional cost to us. It hasn't been in the past, so.
And Mary just retired.
Yes, she's almost done.
I was up there, they had a big deal for her up at
It would be a big
El.
loss for me.
Yeah.
She's super helpful to me up there whenever I need things, so.
Is Priority separate, a different certification?
Priority's a different company. Same thing as
Same
PowerPhone.
thing, it's an
Yep.
EMD.
Yep, some people just prefer, it's been a long time since I've looked at the both of them, but
Who do we work with here?
PowerPhone is the company that we use for EMD.
It's like Red Cross certified or YMCA certified type deal.
Yep. And they, have the, I guess it's technically an insurance that says that in the event that a call doesn't go our way, as long as we followed the instructions that they lay out for us, they'll back us in the event that somebody wants to come after us for the turnout.
We have good Samaritan laws that protect us also in South Dakota against things like that.
To an extent, I think.
Yeah. They believe it in this state. Some states don't, but South Dakota does.
Other than that, budget-wise, I'm kind of really just in the information gathering portion of it. I know I need to look into getting phone lines for Justin's office, because
That's your backup.
we're planning, yep. Officially, our backup is still the fire hall, but in the event that we would need a backup, the fire hall is just not the best place
Right.
anymore. So we've got radio equipment in Justin's office currently, and then once we get phone lines in there, then the state will allow us to officially call that our backup. So I need to look into that a little bit more. I guess it kind of jumps right into the UPS thing, unless anybody's got
I'm following.
Yeah.
Good.
So we are nearing the end of the project at the jail right now with the camera system and things indoors and those types of things. One of the things that we've found out during that project is the UPSs that we have in our tech room are not necessarily enough for the amount of equipment that we have down there. So UPS is uninterrupted power supply. It's what keeps our equipment running when the power goes out, whether it's complete failure or a brownout, until the generator picks it up. It keeps everything running in the meantime. So, we've learned that we have some equipment down there that is plugged into a UPS that is at a critical state. It's not big enough to hold the load that we have, that we're expecting it to hold in the event the power goes out. And we learned that recently. Took us a little bit to get everything, the load managed better and get everything back up and where it needed to be. The dispatch center was still operational. I mean, our calls were all still coming in. It was not an issue of that. It was more of a pen and paper type situation. We lost access to our server, so our protocols were all hard copy. We didn't have internet, which means we lose our CAD system. Our mapping went down during the process. We were still getting everybody's coordinates and location through the phone system. It just wasn't automatically plotting it for us, so that was just an extra step. But it was an obviously serious event for us, just because of the scale of it. I know the jail ended up losing some things too during that. I went down and worked with JW, and we got everything back up and working, and we've got the load dispersed a little bit, but those are still at what is being called a critical state. And so this is something that we just learned about, and so we're kind of looking at our budget, and I know the other department heads are looking the same to see what we can do immediately, because some of them are going to end up being an immediate need type situation, where we need to either add more or get new, bigger ones. We're still waiting on numbers and things like that to come through. We in dispatch actually bought 4 new ones at the end of last year, just for the dispatch center itself.
You bought 4 new UPSs last year,
Yeah.
just for your equipment?
Just for us, yep, we have one at each of our stations. And the one, so I'm just kind of looking at a quote that we had for when we went through that process. They were $600-700 a piece. And those ones are about half the size or smaller than what we actually need for the tech room. So we're still waiting to find out exactly, and talk to a couple people in terms of what's critical, what's immediate need, and what's potentially for 2024 budget. I was already looking at budgeting for a couple. We like to have a couple on hand, because when one fails, you need one now. The backups that I had have been put in other places now to help manage the load in the tech room and other places that needed. So I guess, I don't know how something like that, if we have the money in the budget this year, it won't be an issue. But again, I don't know what we're looking at for a dollar amount or a quantity at this point.
This is going to be a complete law enforcement center upgrade.
Yes, yeah, because it's for the tech room, so I mean, it's jail cameras, jail doors, it's internet for the whole building, I mean, there are some things down there that I can point at and tell you that, yeah, that's specifically, everything plugged into that one goes into the dispatch center, but for the most part, it's
Yeah,
everything.
I've been down there. It's wild.
It's a lot better now, it's a lot
Oh,
better now.
cleaner now?
Yeah, it's
Good.
a lot better now.
Critical.
Yeah. Yeah, one of them, it was overloaded and it just died when it was time for it to do its job, and it just end of life, gone. So we're down to, we're -1 in that area. Like I said, I had a couple of extras from when we replaced ours because they weren't end of life, but they were getting close. So we moved those down there to kind of help balance the load for now, and now we need to look at moving forward.
Any other good news?
It's never good
That's-
news when we're spending money, is it?
Anytime you start advancing your technology, you have to upgrade one part. It's like putting a water or replacing something on a older vehicle. Once you put something new in the system, then everything else seems to go down because it's operating more efficiently. And the more new equipment is processing a lot more data, a lot more procedures, processes running through those computers. It's a bigger load.
Yeah, we definitely put a lot on them here in the last few months with new server and new camera and new doors and all that stuff.
Have you received, Chandra's personal services started being sent out?
I informed Rhonda this morning to adjust those 6 departments that we talked about and get everything else sent out today.
Okay.
It's just Rhonda and I in the office today, so the goal is to have them sent out by end of day.
Okay.
The problem that we currently have is she doesn't know, because she's not been given directive from council as to what to budget for raises. Are we just doing the CPI? Are we going above CPI? So we haven't been given any directive on that, so that's why we hadn't sent anything out yet, because we were waiting on that directive. So I asked her to do 3 options. The 6.5, which is CPI, 7% and 7.5%. And if, when we can go anywhere in between, but that at least gives you some numbers to look at.
Okay. Council, any questions? Andrew, anything else?
Upgrades are upgrades, they cost money. And if we're in the business, we're going forward, we're forced to do those upgrades. It's gonna cost us money, but we can't be having equipment. Look what we're responsible for now.
Exactly.
What your outfit handles over there.
Yeah.
Law enforcement handles, the amount of inmates we have locked up over there. I mean, you've gotta keep up with that.
Cost of doing business.
Yeah, it's a cost of doing business, that's the way I look at it.